what?
A better person.
What is the name of our Kung Fu style?
Hong Kong.
What does it mean?
Hong family.
What does it mean?
Hong family.
What is the word Hong mean? What does it mean?
Ray.
Where does our style come from?
Shaolin Temple.
How many animals?
5.
First animal.
Dragon.
What does it train?
Mine.
What is the third animal?
Tiger.
What does it train?
Bull.
What is the second animal?
Snake.
What does it train?
Bread.
What does it train?
Red.
What is the last animal?
Crane.
What does it train?
Balance.
What is the fourth animal?
Leopard.
What does it train?
Muscles.
Push-ups! I know I was going to get somebody. Get down. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Up position. It's not an up position. That's a dolphin position. Up position. Up. Ready. Down. Up.
Yeah.
Down. Up.
Yee.
Down. Up.
Some.
Down. Up.
Say.
Down. Up. Get up. At ease. What is the fourth animal?
Leopard.
What does it train?
Muscles.
Outstanding. 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 What is the first most important thing we practice in our Kung Fu style?
Stand.
Second most important thing.
Break.
Third most important thing.
Body connection.
In the martial virtue poem, what does martial virtue mean? Dante, what does martial virtue mean? Do you know? Okay, listen. Tell them.
You want to be a good martial artist, you gotta be a good person.
That's it. That's what martial virtue means. Before you be a good martial artist, you gotta be a good person. Stay at ease, stop moving around. What are the first 2 words? Everybody, the first 2 words of the martial poem are what?
Respect parents.
Say it one more time. At ease. One more time. Everybody.
Respect parents.
Respect parents. What are the second?
Respect teachers.
Respect the teacher. What's the third?
Respect virtue.
Respect virtue. What is the fourth? Learn.
Learn kindness.
Say it again. What's the fourth?
Learn kindness.
Fifth.
Learn faithfulness.
Say it again.
Learn faithfulness.
Learn faithfulness. The last?
Learn Kung Fu.
What is at ease? What is the first?
Respect parents.
What's the last?
Learn Kung Fu.
There you go. Touch it. Too slow. At ease. Touch it. Fighting stance. Go back. Pay attention. When I say fighting stance, think about it. If you have to protect yourself, are you going to do it slow or are you going to do it fast?
Fast.
Fighting stance. Yeah. Number 1, back this. Now step and come back. That was pretty good. Don't look at me. Don't look at yourself. Ready? 1. Ha! Nah. No sound. It had no spirit. Remember, without the spirit, without the energy, it's no Kung Fu. Ready? 1.
Ha!
Yeah. Other hand. Other hand. Back. Ready? Again. 1. Eyes. 1. Yeah. 1. Good. 1. No, this. 1. 1. 1. Yes. 1. Yeah. 1. 1. Straight ahead. 3. Ready. Go. Not fast enough. Yee.
Like Power, here with Seafood, Sharif Bay. Haven't seen this brother in a minute.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to talk a little bit about what we got going on in here in Syracuse with our councilman, Brother Khalid Bey,
What's up?
and ban the box legislation. I see it's still in the beginning stages, so
Yes.
you know nothing is gonna go on without a fight. We know that.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. First, our brother and comrade, and fellow Moorish American tribesman Khalid Bey, Councilor Khalid Bey, is doing an outstanding job. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. We want the best for ourselves and the best for our people. We don't want to just say, well, hey, he's our brother, so he's doing good just because he's our brother. No. He's an excellent statesman and an excellent politician and an excellent human being, and he just happens to be a Moorish American Muslim, and he just happens to be my brother. So we want that, again, we want the highest for ourselves because we deserve it. Now, with Ban the Box, let's talk about that for a second. Ban the Box is legislation that basically takes, if passed, would require employers to take the "have you ever been convicted of a felony" box or question off the application. That does not prevent them from asking the question. It doesn't prevent them from doing background checks. It doesn't prevent these things. But what it does is that it works to prevent employers from prematurely disqualifying, would-be or applicants or would-be employees based on them checking that box before an interview, before getting to know their qualifications, before getting to know the individual. You see? And so that's what Ban the Box is. Does the whole box thing in the felony conviction issue on an application, does it affect our people, the African American community, disproportionately? Sure, of course it does. But we as Moorish Americans don't want to approach the issue from that perspective. And the reason we don't want to approach it from that perspective is because it puts us right back in the trick box of giving the misconception that our people are not intelligent enough to know what's going on around them or to be aware of their own circumstances. It gives the misconception that our people are not capable of taking care of themselves and managing their own circumstances. You see what I'm saying? And so we're not approaching it as Moorish Americans from, we support Ban the Box, but we don't support it from the perspective of, oh, it helps, it helps our people because our people need the help and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we do need help. We do need more jobs. We do need that, right?
Right.
But we are capable enough to create or shape circumstances to benefit ourselves. You see what I'm saying? That's what participation in the political process enables people to do. Shape your environment and shape circumstances that benefit your community directly and specifically. You see? That's what it's about. So we're approaching it, you people here talk about, the Moors, they know the law, and the Moors are involved in law, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Or civics. Let's talk about that for a second. There's a lot of misconceptions in the Moorish community about what civics is. Civics is purely this. Civics is the branch of political science that treats of the duties and rights and responsibilities of citizens. You see, the Moorish Science Temple of America, part of its mission statement is to teach our people the things that would make better citizens out of men and women. So it doesn't teach us to be part of the dropout culture and say, you know what, screw it, and I'm just going to drop out, and I'm just going to live off the grid, and I'm not going to participate. That's not what this thing is.
Right.
What it is handling your business. When the prophet said, get back into the affairs of men. He's talking about handling your business. Be responsible, community-wise. Be responsible. The community is responsible. The community can take care of itself. So that being said, Moorish Americans approach the whole Ban the Box issue from the perspective of it contributes to better government. There you go. It contributes to better government. Now, right off the rip, I know people are like, certain people in the conscious community be like, yo, what are you talking about? They're trying to help the government. Yeah, they're trying to help the system. Oh, these guys are sellouts. And these guys are, Respectfully, without being disrespectful in saying this, most of these same people couldn't tell you what government is. I know that because most people, regardless of nationality, race, creed, or whatever, can tell you accurately what government is. Matter of fact, we know people in government that can't tell you what government is. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
We know people in government that don't know the difference between government and politics.
What is the difference, brother Sharif?
Good question. Thank you, brother, man. And this is to quote, I'm going to quote because he said it best. Councilor Khalid Bey. Government is management. That's what government is. You know, like in your household. If you're running a successful household and your house affairs are in order, that means the bills are managed, right? Chores are managed. All of these things, you're managing things so things run smoothly. That's government. Government is also business. We'll talk about that in a second. Government is business, and government is management. Politics is the conversation that takes place between the managers and those that put the managers in the management position, which is who? Us, the citizens. You see? That's what politics is. Khalid Bey puts it like this: politics is an extended public relations campaign. Now let's talk about how important that is. We say that government is management. Management of what? Management of money. Whose money? Well, if you're in the city limits or in the town limits, if you're working, if you're not working. Let's take it if you're not working. You still go across the street to the corner store and pay for food. Yep. You still buy the things that you need to live, somehow. Or you're in some kind of government-funded program that allows you to get these things. So money's coming through you. Okay? That means you're paying into a public pot. That public pot of money is the city from a business perspective. That is your money. Government manages that money on behalf of the citizens. Now, the government also provides services. So this is the business side of government. Government sells service. Infrastructure, roads, schools, hospitals. Get it?
Yep.
You pay for it. How? Taxes. Matter of fact, you're already paying for it. Matter of fact, you've already paid for it. Right? Now, as it relates to our people not participating, that's akin to, and I mentioned this before, I think in an earlier video, that's akin to you going to the corner store, placing your money on the counter, and walking out without what you paid for. How crazy is that? In the business world, that's called, you know, or what that is you're not demanding a return on your investment. Who does that? The answer? Black people do that. All across the country. This is what we do. You see? Why? We don't understand what government is. We think that government is welfare. We think that government is an extended social security or social services program where we just say, hey, we need. Instead of treating it like a business. Give and take, give and take. You're already giving because you paid the taxes. And you're paying the taxes. You're paying into the system. You're not demanding a return on your investment. That's why there's cracks and potholes in your hood that have been there longer than your grandmother been there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why the hood is going straight to hell in a handbasket. Because we're not participating. We're not demanding a return on our investment. You see? Politics, like I said, is the public relations campaign that decides who manages the money. This is why this thing is so important. It's all about the grab for the money. Who manages the money? Well, you can tell who manages the money in Syracuse. Go to Tipperary Hill. See what I'm saying? Okay. Now, let's talk about Syracuse and most cities, most major cities in the country. They're on welfare. Why are they on welfare? Because they're broke. You see? They're broke. So they're dependent, heavily dependent upon state and federal funding to operate. This is the truth. This is the fact. So that contributes to what? That contributes to overreaching, top-heavy government, which is what all or a large amount of citizens complain about, especially taxpayers. They complain about that, right? Overreaching, top-heavy government. Government in their pockets. Taxes going through the roof, right?
Yep.
Because again, even state is state, and at the federal level, it's still business. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. If they give here, they got to take somewhere from something else. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. 80%. Oh, I'm sorry. The largest amount of a city's revenue or a town's revenue comes from employment. It comes from employees working. It comes from the workforce.
Right.
It comes from the workforce, right? Okay. So if you've got high unemployment, what does that tell you? Now, 80% of employment in the city comes from small business. Employment revenues come from small business. This is important. So when you have small business on the decline, you know what you have, right? A broke city. You have a broke city. So now let's go back to the ban the box issue. I don't even need to give hard numbers on it, right? How many qualified potential employees have been turned away by the felony box on the application?
A ton.
Man,
Countless.
how many people do you know couldn't get a job because they had to check that box?
And they are people in my family, and a lot of our brothers and sisters are good workers. Got a lot more work potential than a lot of us who haven't been to prison and lazy and take it for granted. You know, I think a lot of our people that have been to prison, you know, you get to a point, I think, after being in jail so long, okay, look, I've had enough. And so now I not only have something to prove to you, I have something to prove to myself. So it would seem like to me these are the people that you
Most
want.
eager.
Right.
Because what do they feel like? I paid my debt to society.
Right.
I'm ready to reintegrate back into society and be a responsible citizen.
Right.
And because I'm starting at the low end of the pole, I'm starting with a mark on me already, right?
Right.
I got something to prove. So I'm willing to work 3 times as hard to get half the pay, if need be, as long as I just get a steady job. Because let's take the money part out of it and being able to support yourself out of it. Let's take that out of it for a second. Just to feel like you're actually a part of normal society after coming out of prison does a world of good. That in and of itself, that feeling in and of itself can rehabilitate someone, right? Feeling like they belong, right?
That's right.
So how do you think they feel after 10 years, 8 years, 20 years or more behind the wall, coming out ready to go, ready to show the world that they're reformed and ready to reintegrate into society and be productive in society, and they can't, they're unemployable. Not unemployed. They can't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that does to them here and here? It tells them, I'm not a part of society.
Right.
I never can be a part of society. The only thing I can be a part of is the underworld.
Yep.
So what does that contribute to? Recidivism. In and out of the prison. It's a revolving door. But that's also counted on as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that box benefits some people.
Right.
You know, people who have monies tied up in the private prison industry, they love the box there because it puts money in their pocket. You see what I'm saying? In the business world, it gives them what they would call accounts receivable. They can plan ahead. They can look at the numbers and project and go, okay, a year from now, I'm going to get this much money because X amount of beds are going to be filled in these prisons by X amount of people. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So somebody does benefit. But later for that. The ban the box thing. First of all, if passed, and that box comes off the applications, what can we expect? We can definitely expect an increase in what? Employment, right?
Yep.
An increase in employment translates directly to what? An increase in tax revenues for the city, right?
So everybody benefits from this.
Which translates exactly to less dependency on state and federal funding for the city, right? So the city moves towards independence, you know, towards financial freedom and independence, right? Self-sufficiency, right? On the other end, the former convict, or the former inmate that's reintegrating in society, what does he have now? What does he have now? He now is self-sufficient or moving towards self-sufficiency as well, right? Yep. So what do you have? Win, win, win. You see what I'm saying? When the city is moving towards self-sufficiency, what does it do? Shrinks top-heavy government. What does that do? Lowers everybody's taxes, right? It's win, 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 isn't it?
So why are people not getting this? Particularly up in high places. What would be the argument, since it's win, win, win? What do some people have a vested interest in?
Well, I mean, some of it's one of the things is business. Like I said, some people may have monies tied up in private prison industry. Man, the box would definitely serve to put a finger in their soup bowl. You see what I mean? Others, which, you know, will they openly say this? No. You know, have an interest in maintaining the social status quo.
Right.
And the social status quo is based upon misconceptions that are foisted upon our community so much that we begin to believe the misconceptions. Right? When you hear the words or the phrase, young black male, what are the words that come to your mind? Criminal.
Yep.
Uncivilized.
Yep.
Right? All these negative things. That is the misconception that's kind of like, that's pushed to the point where we actually begin to believe it ourselves. You see? And then, like I said, some people monetarily, maybe otherwise, socially, benefit from us shouldering and carrying, you know, those marks. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Those marks. You know, those badges of social incompetency. You know, those badges of cultural and social and big ambiguity. You know? Some people benefit from that. You know what I mean? And what you end up having is basically a polarization. You've got some people that are like, you know, these poor Negroes just can't take care of themselves. We need more services for them. They need more help. We gotta help them. Which does what? Contributes to top-heavy government and overtaxes people, right? Eventually. And then you got people on the other side that says, man, to hell with those guys. They need to pull themselves up. They need to lace the bootstraps up and handle their business. We don't want to give them nothing, right?
Right. Yep.
There you go. Noble Drew Ali said it like this. He said, the Negro problem is being solved only as it can. Meaning, we have to solve our problem. We have to save ourselves. Now, when we are smart enough, we are smart enough. When we demonstrate the intelligence, not just know about it, but demonstrate it bodily, demonstrate it verbally, demonstrate it with our action. We demonstrate the intelligence to, number one, know the condition, know the problem. 2, know the solution. 3, make the solution a reality, right? Then we take teeth out of both of the other arguments on either sides of the extremes. You see what I'm saying? We solve the problem and we help everybody.
Right.
We help ourselves first, and in helping ourselves, we help out everyone else. You see? This side can no longer say, oh, those poor Negroes can't take care of themselves. This side over here says, wow, they just demonstrated ingenuity. They actually did take care of the problem. You see? Get respect on both ends. And that's the only way this happens, is that we take control of our situation. We demonstrate the intelligence to remedy our own problem, or we already have a remedy, but to actually put it into action and allow it to bear fruit. And what that starts with us First of all, throwing off all the negative marks and labels. Throwing off the whole, you know, yeah, I'm a gangster, I'm a thug, I'm a this and the third. How you a gangster and you can't balance a checkbook? You know what I'm saying? How you a gangster and never had an apartment in your name ever? You know what I mean? How are we G's when we'll stick up each other for like a few pennies at re-up time, right? But another nationality has has a corner store in your hood, and you catch them every week at Sam's Club buying the stuff that they sell to you. Right?
Yes, sir.
And they get, and that money leaves your hood and goes to their community. And you don't tax them? Not like I'm advocating anything negative or I'm advocating anything like that or robbing caravans. Not at all. But, you know, real G's take care of the hood. Real G's love the hood. And the number one way to demonstrate your love for the hood is you keep your money in the hood. You recognize what you have. You assess the terrain. You assess your condition. You pick the best part for yourself and you don't care about the poor part. Matter of fact, you throw off the poor part. You see? You know, the whole idea that everybody owes us something. That's the poor part. Throw that away. We're grown men and women. You see what I'm saying?
You have people in public office, you have to support them. They can't do it by themselves.
You know, here's the thing. That's deep that you say that. Again, if most of our people don't know what government is, how can they utilize it to shape their condition? You see what I'm saying? They don't know. You know, that's another part of our job too, is to educate. But once you educate, once you know, you know. Blood's off our hands when you already know. A politician is a public servant. The reason why you put him in office is so that he can make matter move for you. But what do we mean make matter move? We don't mean like, okay, what's he doing for us? No. No, you have to go to your public servant, to your politician, and give him marching orders. Give him ideas. I want to do this.
Make him responsive to your needs.
I want to do this. Not some like, there's a dead cat in front of my lawn. No. He gets calls like that. You see what I'm saying? There's a dead cat in front of my lawn. Or, no. How about something like this? How about something like, I need a job. But not go to this man and say, or go to our politician and say, well, give me a job. No. How about, how many schools are in the 4th District? Elementary schools, right? They all have lunch, right? Who's supplying the schools with plastic forks and cups and knives? What if you could provide a better deal to the schools and secure a contract? That's what you go see your politician about. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what you go see the politician about. If you can get a better deal for the schools, you're saving the city money, and you just created a job for yourself. You see? But what does that require? That requires us changing our thinking from being consumers to being producers. See, a consumer mind is slave mentality. I want to say that again. People talk about the slave mentality, mental slavery. Debt is slavery. You see? A consumer mind is mental slavery, is economic slavery. We want to be producer minds. We want to have a producer mentality. You see? We want to see a need and fill the need. Then the politician can do what he does and create a reality for that. Or aid in creating the reality. That's his job. His job is not to find you a job. His job is to help you create one. You see what I'm saying? This is what men do. Men create. You see what I'm saying? We talk about, being, godly, whether you're in the church, whether you're in the mosque or the temple or whatever, it doesn't matter. When we talk about being godly, what is God, if anything? God's a manager. You understand? That's what God is. He's a manager. You see? So we want to be godly, we need to manage our affairs. What else does God do? Creates out of nothing. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Instead of asking people for a job, that's consumer minded. Right? That's consumer minded. That means that you're beholden to that individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. That means you're gonna give whatever he get. You're gonna take whatever he gives you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't get to decide nothing, do you?
Mm-mm.
All right. But now, if you create one, of course, it takes a lot more work. But aren't we worth it?
Oh yeah.
Aren't we worth it? We're worth it. So again,
creative people on the planet.
For sure. What we need to stop doing is creating for everybody else and giving everybody else the credit.
Yeah.
Willingly giving them the credit for a few trinkets. You know, we need to create for us and keep it in house and let the world come to us. Right? Now we feed the world socially, culturally. We already do feed the world socially and culturally. We're just not. What we're doing though is we're just giving them everything. And they walk away with it. We're not managing. We're not really producing the way we should. You know. But back on the ban the box thing. The ban the box legislation is just good government. Plain and simple. Has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with any of those other things that they use to cloud the real issues.
Right.
It's good government. It's good government. Bottom line. Are there people now? I'll have to mention this too. Are there people that are for ban the box but have their own ideas that want to steer it another direction? Yes. Yes. These people know that the ban the box issue, you know, or that the whole felony conviction issue hurts our people disproportionately. They know that.
Right.
Which means what? But they're not of our people per se. And the issues that they want to kind of sneak in to this issue has little to do with our community. So what does that turn us into? Just like in the civil rights movement, just like women's rights, just like all these other movements where they used the motivation, they used the power, and they used the footwork of our people and the energy and effort and time of our people to move the issues for them. Right?
Yep.
That turns us into social and political slaves.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
True.
We're not having that. Not in Syracuse and not with this issue. We support ban the box, but we don't support. But we support it because it's good government. We don't support it because of other people's, you know, issues that they want to tag on to ban the box. We support it because it's good government. And secondly, at the same time, it benefits our people primarily. It helps us. We're intelligent. You know, we're intelligent enough to know, yes, it helps everybody else, but it helps us primarily. Right?
That's what every other ethnic and racial group does.
It's called common sense.
Yep.
Yes, sir, brother. Our people, we have to change our mindset from slave, like we hear that the whole cliche slave mentality to a free man's mentality. That is slavery. So we have to change from being a consumer, overly consumer-minded society, our people, to a producer-minded society, which requires us to first believe we can produce the things out of ourselves that we need to sustain ourselves. We don't believe we can do that. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talked about that. We brought her to Syracuse University a long time ago, and she spoke about it in her book, you know, the ISIS papers. Mm-hmm. But when we brought her to speak at Syracuse University, she told everybody this. She goes, all right, we'll do a little experiment. How many of you guys want a BMW? Everybody raise their hand. He said, okay, by show of hands again, how many of you guys believe you can make or build a BMW? About 4 hands went up and then everybody's hand went down. I said, yeah. Then she said, how many of you believe you can make toilet paper? No hand went up. I said, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this, right? He said that our people, we see the rain, we see the hail, we see the snow, right? And we're like, wow, look, that's amazing. God is great, right? Other people see the rain, the hail, and the snow. Know what they do?
I'm going to find out how.
And they make up a little chemical, get in an airplane, jump it in the clouds, and poof, pow, look what happens. Make it rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a change of thinking. It's just a different type of thinking.
That's all.
Yeah. We have to have that type of thinking. But collectively. That's what I mean. See, collectively. See, all throughout our history here in America, there have been shining examples of that kind of thinking. Right? Booker T. Washington, Lewis Latimer, Benjamin Banneker. We can name them. You know, there's a whole bunch of them, right? But collectively is how it has to happen, and it has to happen for our people first. We have to produce that way collectively for us first. That's the only way. People talk about in the conscious community revolution, right? We need a revolution. Yeah, I agree. Not no physical revolution. Think about it. Let's be real. And this is a little off topic, but let's talk about it. Let's say our people, right, quote unquote African American black people, had a physical revolution and took over, right? What do we know about government? What do we know about plumbing? What do we know? You get where this is going?
Yep.
You get where this is going? We'd be begging the European to take control within 7 days. Think about that. We do need a revolution. You know what we need? We need a cultural, a social, and an economic revolution. That's what we need. You see? And what I mean by revolution is let go of the poor part. Let go of the things that bring us nothing but mistreatment and abuse. Let go of those things. Let go of the culturally ambiguous names and labels. Let go of the mentality and the behavior that brings shame upon any people. Let go of that. You know what I'm saying? Let go. We gotta let go of that. Let's duplicate what our brothers and sisters did in Wall Street, Black Wall Street. Let's duplicate that. You see? Let's duplicate that. Let's duplicate those principles, even on a small level. If we duplicated the principles, and this goes back to the other video I did with you, if we duplicate the principles of Black Wall Street in the South Salina trade zone, Sankofa, right? If we duplicated those principles in Sankofa, we would produce easily, within 3 years, we'd produce probably no less than 8 millionaires right out of that area in 3 years. That's a fact. The numbers already are there. We'd produce about 8 millionaires. And that's just 8 that I can think of. You see? You know, it's that simple. It's that simple. And those 8 millionaires, what would they do in the process of becoming millionaires? As their business grows, what do they got to do? What do they have to do? As their business grows, they need help, right?
Hire people, yep.
What does that do for the city?
Raises the economy.
And lowers taxes.
Yep.
It makes more people self-sufficient, right? Win, win, win. See what I'm saying?
It's almost like some people can't stand to see us in the condition, but you scared for us to come out of it. What do you want us to do?
Brother, it's funny you say it that way, because that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's one of those situations where it's like other people on the outside of our community, they see the problem very clearly. They don't know necessarily how to reach us to tell us, right? I had this one European son of a politician here a number of years back. He said, we're the inheritors of old money in this town. He said, but what's interesting is that the old generation that we're inheriting the money from, very conservative. He's talking about himself, if we had it our way, we'd vote Snoop Dogg for president. We'd love to do a lot of things for the African American community, but we don't know how to reach them. We don't know who to go to. You know? And we just don't know exactly how to approach it without getting our heads popped off. He actually said that. But here's the scary part. They themselves, just like us, don't know. We have no idea. No idea. We can talk about the greatness of African kings and great old civilizations of ancient time, right? And we can talk about it and feel proud about it, and rightly so. But let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100 with ourselves. In our minds and in our hearts, we're so far removed from that we talk about it, but it ain't real to us. I can prove it. Because the idea of collective success for our people scares the hell out of us more than it does the European. That's for real. The very idea of us being that collectively powerful scares us. We don't know what it looks like. Other people don't know what it looks like. All they know is that we've always had to take care of Negroes. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, where it talks about the lamb, the symbolic lamb, and the description it's given. It says, it looked as if it had been slain since the foundation of the world. What's another word for slain? Dead. What's another word for dead? Negro. It is. It is. The C and the G can be interchanged and not change the meaning of the word. Necro, dead. Negro, dead. You see? So you're talking about a people that looked as, all we know about them is that they were slaves. All we know about them is that they were property. All we know is that they were civilly, socially, and economically dead. The Latin term is civila mortus, which means dead in the eyes of the law. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you got a people that all you know of them is that they've always been aggressively dependent on everybody. They don't give nothing, they take everything. Right? Right. All of a sudden they get up and they start solving their own problem. That's scary. Right. That's scary. The sleeping giant, that's an understatement. It's an understatement. But it's that very thing that has to happen. Or else the worst is yet to come for us, you know? So, I'm going to say this and close out. So I'm going to eat this, get back to teaching my class. But if any of you watching this in Syracuse, New York, or in any town that you're in that does not have Ban the Box on the books as law, if you yourself or you know of someone that has ever been denied employment because they had to check that box to help yourself, to help your family, to help your community, and to help the town and city you live in, you need to support Ban the Box. It just makes sense.
Real talk.